to introduce Lisa and Mark with Quibits Toys Toy Company. We always play with building blocks, and you know me, I got a garage full of robots and building blocks, and if my nieces or my kids come to my house, it's always something that they can do. So what I'm wanting them to do is introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about them.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Payton, for having us on your show this evening. It's an honor. And I'm Lisa Burginger, and here's my husband, Mark Burginger, and we're the co-owners of an invention called Quibits Toy.
Okay.
And we've made this invention several years ago, and we've been selling it ever since.
And hey, I am in love with, I'm trying to find what camera I'm supposed to be at so people can see it. I'm in love with this thing because it's big enough to where, you can really see what you're building. You can build real big, you can build real high, and you don't have to have extra pieces to put together. But we're going to talk about all that in just a moment. But can you tell us a little bit about how Quibits Toys got started?
Well, it's an interesting story. It's actually started very long ago. I was in high school, and I was in a senior class where I was taking college classes as a senior in high school.
Okay.
And he came up with a challenge in class to build a modular object. And I had been a fan of Bucky Fuller, so I thought about geometry right away, and I started to build a geometric object with prisms, which are just really extended triangles. And I stepped them, and I made an arrangement of them that I found that would work really well as a modular object. So I handed it in. I got an A for the class. And I just kind of kept the whole idea in a box. So then you can fast forward a little bit into college, and I continued to develop that idea, and I built more models. And by this time, I was in San Jose State University, and I was an art student, graphic arts, and I really flushed out the idea at that time, and it was pretty complete at that time. But again, it just ended up as a cardboard model in a box. And now, fast forward, I was in the Air Force, and then later on I got out, and I met Lisa, and we got married. We had children. Many years had passed, and one day the school where we were at canceled art and music. This is in California when they started to turn that whole thing off. And so we would volunteer to teach at school in our children's classrooms. And one day, Lisa suggested that I take these models that I had made so that we could bring them to the class and let the kids play with them and see how it turns out. And so basically what?
That's the beginning. Yeah, I said, let's make this possibly into a toy. And it took a while, many years, and some help from some people, and we made it into a dream that we had.
Now, when you took it,
and that's how.
I'm sorry. Now, when you took it into the classroom, was it still cardboard, or had you converted it over to the bendable plastic that you have now?
Yeah, it was just cardboard.
Okay.
It was. I've got pictures of it, but yeah.
Yeah. Like modular tubes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was actually 201 mat board, and it was cut precisely, and it was inked up, and it was all these things. It's a very precise model. What I used when I was in college at San Jose State, it was in the 80s, and I would take pictures and make drawings of this, and share it with Buckminster Fuller.
Yeah.
So he became like a pen pal for me. And so that was really fun, too. I've got a whole series of letters that we wrote to each other. And it turned out that the Green University at Stanford collects letters because they keep a full collection of everything he ever wrote. And so that's where my letters are now.
Oh.
And, yeah, you could actually go there and look it up. Yeah.
So once you decided to go from this being a cardboard model to what you sent me in the mail, which, like I say, I'm in total love with, you know, how did you get to that development point of doing this?
Well,
creating these?
at the time, you know, I am an architect. I studied architecture, got my degree at the University of Arizona, and at that time when Lisa and I decided to make it into a toy, I had the ability to build three-dimensional computer models, and then we printed it. It was a 3D print. But back in those days, I mean, this was the very, very beginning of 3D printing, and the 3D prints were made with cornstarch.
Oh.
And but they were solid and they were pretty dimensionally accurate. And so I would make these models and then start to make prototypes from them. I actually made a silicon mold from the print, and then we made pieces. But yeah, it was quite a process back then, and you know, we got a lot of help financially from an inventor in Poway, California. His name is Woody Norris. And Woody Norris is the fellow who invented the Jabra microphones that they use in the astronauts in the helmet. And so he was looking for fledgling inventors to help, and I raised my hand and wrote him a nice letter. And he said, "Hey, this is really fun. I like your idea. So let's get behind it." And so he helped with the patenting on the product, and then he also helped with the prototyping at that time. And eventually what we did on our first run is we had a company in San Diego was making the mold in order to do injection plastic. And the first Quibits were actually made of rubber.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, and they were sold through Discovery Toys.
Right.
And so that was our first run of what we did. After that, though, in 2013, Lisa and I decided we really wanted to bring everything home. We wanted to bring it here to the United States. It's very hard to work with small projects over in China. And so we redesigned it with a flexible plastic, and we used a secret formula, really, for the plastic.
Yeah.
It's very much like Tupperware. And there's a plant in Alabama who produces the raw material from the petroleum. And then once we have that raw material, we add color, and then we injection plastic mold our toy. Now, we do it right here in North Carolina.
Right. We have relocated to North Carolina, and we're blessed to be able to make it in our town. And we could actually go and see how it's being made, and then we just pick it up and repackage it ourselves and do whatever we have to do.
That is so cool. Now, when I look at these, you know, I love the material that they're made out of because they're so flexible, and you can you don't have to go up with a straight build. You can make, you know, round objects. You can make square. I mean, you can do a lot because of what this is made out of.
Right.
What types of builds have y'all done, you know, in the past or with organizations that you would like to talk about?
Well, at one time we used to volunteer a lot, and actually we still do before, unfortunately, with the COVID. But we always have gone locally to classrooms and libraries, and we volunteer, and we go in there, and we always show like a PowerPoint about construction toys, how they evolved from, say, the 1800s until present. And then we bring our toy and we let all the children play. Sometimes we'll do something more organized. Otherwise, it's open-ended. And then we'll talk about what they have made. And that's one of the places that we've gone to a lot of places, but one that stands out in my mind is we did something for like a Dr. Seuss night, and it was at a school in Florida at the time, and we built a tower with the STEM class and the teacher, and it 17 feet tall. So it actually made a world record, and it wasn't really us building, it was all the students.
Yeah, I
they
saw that
were the ones who
online.
built it, and we were just there kind of like supervising, and it was amazing. But yeah, we love to just give our time to any place. We've gone to museums, we've gone to camps, we've gone to special schools, like for autistic children, because these are large pieces. So it's like everyone enjoys playing with them, and there's no right or wrong. There's no frustration with this toy. There's no like reading directions and not, feeling good about yourself. So it makes everyone actually love it and feel good and not feel in despair when they play with it.
And, that's one of the things I like about it is the fact that it is, it is of a larger size, and you don't have to have 50 pieces to go a foot. You understand what I'm saying? You can
Right,
really,
exactly.
and the connections, they stay together. You can connect, put the pieces together and they stick. And the little, I call them side pieces, the little rectangular pieces that give it stability. You can really do some great STEM challenges with this. So if there are any STEM, science, math teachers, whatever out there, these are great building pieces, because I don't consider it a toy. I'm looking at this and thinking of various models and infrastructure type challenges that teachers can do with this. But I'm a little bit ahead of myself.
Right, exactly. We have a booklet we have like these free booklets that we have on our website, and it's actually based on some curriculum, and it teaches like different steps and different things to how you could use the Quibits, how you could maybe in science use it as snowflakes. We've made the COVID virus with it. We're working on an antenna right now. As far as math, we've made all these polyhedrons, and it's also for different age groups, and it's very interesting because when once in a while we'll do a show, like if we have a local show in our town, and I have even elderly people come over to me and they buy it because maybe their husband had a stroke, and so these are really good for them because they're very like for dexterity and they're manipulative, and so that we get a lot of nice feedback. So it's not just for children, which is kind of nice. It's for all ages, and that's great.
Now I kind of want to go back to where you were at the school, the Dr. Seuss night at Wadesworth Elementary School, and you said the students worked on the project with y'all, because I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and you look like you have a crane up there trying to get to the top. When I was looking at the picture.
Yeah, that is the teacher, and he was allowed to get on the crane, and he was the only one who could get up, and he did the finishing touches, and they even had an engineer from town, right?
Yeah.
He came, and he had to kind of measure, and
Yeah, he's the official.
he did the official measuring and see how tall it actually was, and so he measured it and everything, and then everyone there who was there for Dr. Seuss night was able to watch this project being made. Yeah. So.
That is so cool. Now I'm looking at this and thinking about being able to use these in school, because you can use these in so many different disciplines. If you're using them in mathematics, you can make rectangles, triangles, squares, octagons, pentagons, just by how you put these together. And I love the fact, as I said earlier, when you snap them together, they stay together. You don't have to have, 50 of them to go a foot. And also, the colors are wonderful. But there was one thing that you had sent with me in the mail, and it was 2 pieces put together, and it had a bead in there. Can you tell me a little bit about why you had to have that bead in there? Because I noticed I couldn't take those 2 pieces apart.
That's right. Yeah. Well, okay, like we do a lot of displays.
Yes.
Let's say we're at a school. Or let's say we're at a street fair.
Mm-hmm.
And we build a bicycle or a car or a rocket or a bridge. And the little ones, 5, 4, 6, they'll come up to those things and pick them up and either want to sit on them or they want to push them over. They want to do things to them.
Very appealing.
Well, they would, sometimes disassemble. Mm-hmm. And so we found that kind of frustrating. And we didn't want to always build. So the idea came upon us that if we were to just pop a little bead right into the clip, mm-hmm. that the bead would hold it together, well, it won't come apart. But it's so simple on the back side of the bead to push it with another Quibits, the pointed end, mm-hmm. just point, and you can pop the bead right out and disassemble it too. So it became our way of locking our pieces together.
So then the kids at certain places could actually play with them and pull them and just have a good time. Like sometimes in the classrooms, we'll have a sphere and they'll play catch with it. I mean,
kickball.
We had one time where they used it as a bowling ball.
Yeah, they did a bowling. That was a fun one.
That was fun. They had pins from their classroom and they used it. I mean, this is their imagination, and we learned from the children as well. We learned so many things.
Right.
And that's what I like about it. You said they use their imagination. I know I was looking at something on YouTube last week when I was doing some more research on this, and someone had made like a wagon. They had made like tires, and they were pulling it around the yard like a wagon. So it
right.
just depends on, the students, the child's, the parents' imagination. And you spoke a little bit about, little kids 5 and 6 wanting to touch and sit on and pull things apart. What age groups did you target for this? Or as you mentioned earlier, it can be for all ages.
Right, exactly. We always say it's like from ages 4 to 104 because it depends. The little ones can make certain things, but then we get into the high school. We used to go to classes for DECA, and they were learning all about how to start businesses and mm-hmm. studies, and they would make amazing things because they're high school kids. So it just depends. It's like whatever level you are, you can create with it. It's just an amazing thing. So it is for all ages and adults, and it's great for the parents to work with the child, and they get that special bond. And then when students in classrooms, it's very big with teamwork, and mm-hmm. that's very important too. And the kids learn to be with each other, and they learn to work with each other, and that's very important because say they want to build a bridge or a tower, you wouldn't want to do that by yourself, so you maybe need 10, 15 kids, and then you all get to work together. So you're also not only learning to build, but you're learning to work together.
Mm-hmm. And audience, for those of you who don't know what DECA is, Lisa, you're talking about the DECA, the STEM challenges that they do all over the world?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've gotten to do those in other countries when I worked there. Haven't gotten to do that much here because we have what do we have in Fort Worth? We had Invention Convention, so it was something similar. But yeah, and I like the fact that you said bridges. If you look at this, I wonder. I don't know if you've done a challenge with this or not. Building a bridge with these and testing how much weight it could actually hold based on how the students built the bridge. Have you ever tried that?
I've seen people try it.
Uh-huh.
I have.
Mm-hmm.
In the library once, we had the kids, it was the girls versus the boys, remember? And they each had to build a tower. and one of them had the librarian. I think it was the girls. She had the librarian helping them. But I'm trying to remember I think was it the girls that won? The girls won. Yeah, and the boys were trying so hard, and we must have had, I don't know, like 70 kids in there, and so we divided it up, and it was fun just to watch the competition and how they compete, and you could do that with anything,
right?
You know.
And I've yet to see anyone do a suspension bridge, to use that idea with string or something, you know, and that's a possibility also.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
And sometimes take a bridge and we put the tracks on there, and we put the Hot Wheels on it. So a lot of this toy can integrate. We've even integrated it with Legos and blocks. So you can kind of integrate this toy with many other your toys, your action figures, or a lot of things to make it robotic.
Hot Wheels is a good one. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Which was that?
Yeah. 2 Hot Wheel tracks will fit on top of the bridge piece that goes in between that square piece.
Yeah.
2 tracks will lay down perfectly onto that, and then you could have races or build a ramp and have a race with someone else.
That's cool.
We have hopefully coming up, we're going to go into space with Quibits.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that online. Y'all were talking about that. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, JP Aerospace out in California, they launch balloons up into space, up into the stratosphere, and on board they will have what they call Pong Sats.
Okay.
It's ping pong ball size satellites. So students all over the world can create these Pong Sats and send them in to JP Aerospace, and they will put them on board and put them up into space so they can conduct experiments. And so, that's a very fun thing, and it's great for students. And we were invited by them to go on board with our toy, and get a little publicity out of it.
That's cool. Well, let me tell my guests who I have here today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us on here on All About STEM Radio, I have Lisa and Mark from Quibits Toys, and this toy is amazing. So, tell your friends, listen for a little while so you can get the scoop on these things. So, now you said you were looking at these going into space with the Pong and all of that. I've got my list of questions here. I've gotten kind of all off a little bit.
That's fine. We go on a tangent.
Yeah, we're not helping.
That's okay. That's why we do that. This is live radio, and whatever. You just love yourself. Now, we were talking about buildings and things like this. Tell me, how can teachers use this other than the ways that I've kind of spoken about? And you've said it's from ages 4 to 104, but how have you seen, or how do you see teachers using these in the classroom?
Well, we have this PDF booklet. I think it's like 60 pages on our website that they can download to get all different ideas.
And it's free.
And it's free. And it just depends, I guess, like if you're maybe a teacher in science, maybe is talking about snowflakes. You could do a whole thing on snowflakes and then make snowflakes with the Quibits. Or, like we said, we were working with viruses. You can create a virus with Quibits with a certain shape, and the ball, the air ball, and then you can learn about that. So I guess whatever the teacher wants to learn, you can just incorporate. A lot of times, like I'll talk to librarians, and we have done that too at the libraries, where they'll pick a book and we'll relate the Quibits to a book. Say they want to do a book about engineering, and then the kids will create something to do with engineering or construction or something like that. So a lot of times teachers can relate it with books, or it just depends what subject that they're working with.
This would be great with the 3 little pigs.
For us to come up with curriculum for everyone and everything that it can do. So we try to stay open-ended, but we try to show lots of examples.
We're always coming up with new things.
We have the 60-page example PDF on our website, and then we also have other PDF that's strictly polyhedrons. For a period of time of this last year, I took it upon myself to build spherical type shapes and then try to define the polyhedrons that exist within those shapes.
Yes.
Well, it turns out that we almost like discovered new polyhedrons. We shared these with professors at various universities who really know their thing on this subject, and they had to agree with us. They really do think that we did come up with new polyhedrons that were undiscovered. Of what value are they? We don't know, but you know, I can't say it can't be bad. It's got to be good. And yeah.
Yeah, so
And now,
I like that.
like now we're doing, like for a lot of the camps, we're having them create birdhouses, bird feeders.
Yeah,
And then simple projects. And then we do also things like tomato plants. I don't know if you saw the photo, but we were last year and this year we were growing tomato plants, and then we put the cubits around it, almost like to hold it, and the tomato plant follows the cubit. So it grows within the cubit.
Like 12 feet in the air.
It's just amazing, the different things. It's not like, say, just a toy that you just play with, but it's just amazing the different things that you can come up with, or that we have come up with.
Yeah, and you can bend them, like you said.
I love that aspect.
You could clip them and cut them. There's no rules. You know, it's almost like a material that you can use for building practically anything.
You know, I wouldn't even have thought to, and you do have it to where you can cut it and do it in different ways. I didn't even think about that till you just mentioned that, Mark. That's pretty cool. So it's not a static thing that has to stay exactly as you have it. You can make changes and adjustments to that. That is so cool.
Exactly.
Sure. That's like a maker-based toy.
Yeah, you made a drone one year with
Right, I made a drone, a nice
with the
drone.
cubits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, I mean, we've talked about teachers. I want to talk about parents just a little bit. Now, with parents, you know, we buy all our kids these things, and I've had friends who bought different toys for their kids for Christmas, and they've never really open the package or the box, because the attitude is, well, I bought them a robot, but I'm not sure if they can operate it or build it, so we'll do it later. What do you think about, this given as a gift for birthdays, Christmas? You did a good thing to kids and their parents, being able to manipulate this with their kids.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that at all. We've seen so many people who could just pick it up with never seeing anything and just start to figure out how to snap it together and build things. So
that's what's fun when we go to the schools. You get so much feedback, and you're working one-on-one, and you go around the room, and so we do that.
How about the mall, though? Not at the school.
Yeah.
But when we were at the mall, we had a kiosk at the mall.
Right.
And there you meet everybody.
Yeah.
And really, no one ever had that much of a problem with
No.
it. We do come into some resistance sometimes when somebody has a real strong mindset that they need to be told step by step how to do things.
Yes.
And those people become very frustrated with us because we keep saying there are no step-by-step instructions on what to build.
Right.
We show you examples. We show you how the pieces work, how they do snap together. And after that, it's up to you to really do it. Because, Lego, let's say Lego, for example, they have 4,000 different shaped pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So on an instruction manual, they could have part A, B, C, D, and they all look different. And so you do need to use them at different times.
Mm-hmm.
But when we try to do that sort of thing, it's like saying we have part A and we have part B. Okay, so now take part A, put it together with part A, and then again part A, and that, you know, it doesn't make sense. So it just doesn't relate that directly to step by step. It's more of understanding how the toy can go together to make shapes or patterns, and then start building your pattern, and then you can extrude the pattern with the bridge pieces to give it lateral support, and after that, you're done. You've been building something already, you know.
Because I was looking at the instructions sheet that came with, and I don't think I brought that with me. The instruction sheet that you sent to me when you sent me the Qubit, and it just it showed you how to make just basic shapes, and you could just build from that. And that was
like just those basic shapes, and it's a good way for children to learn how to do their shapes.
And it just happens that those basic shapes, those are the simplest shapes made with 6 pieces.
Yeah.
And those shapes actually show up in snowflakes. If you study snowflake patterns, each one of those shapes shows up in the photomicrograph of an ice crystal. It teaches them about symmetry, and modularity, and how nature uses it. So why don't we use it too? We should use it too.
Right. And a good thing about also too, if you build something, then you don't mind taking it apart, where some other construction toys you build and you don't want to take it apart because you spend so many hours
Ship in a bottle. So.
almost like a puzzle, and you don't want to destroy it or anything. It just sits on the shelf, and it looks beautiful. But at least with this Qubits, you can keep redoing and taking it apart and just making all different type of things and never really get frustrated.
And mixing it with other things. I mean, just
with your other toys that you might have at home.
Yeah, we say good toys play together.
Right, exactly.
Now I'm looking at the colors. The one that you sent to me, you sent me colors of yellow, red, blue, and green and orange. Are these the only colors, or do you have other colors that these come in?
Okay. Colors are fun. Yeah. We've had. Okay.
In the past, we've had pink.
Yeah, we had pink. We've had red, orange, yellow.
We had gray. We had black. We had white.
Yeah, we had gray, black, white.
And did we forget anything else?
Silver.
Did we have something like
yeah,
that?
The gray.
Yeah,
the gray looks
true.
like silver,
Gray.
just like metal. But right now we're staying with Roy G. Biv.
Yes.
So we got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. And then we have black, and we don't have white anymore. We just use those colors.
We used to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when we did have the pink, and I would be with all the kids, like the boys would not want to use the pink Qubits. And then so we thought, well, we've got to make it because it's a boy and girl toy. It's not just a girl or a boy, So that's why I think we got rid of that pink color too.
Didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
And then we don't always do black because sometimes you have to understand how plastic works, you know. So these colors are individual colors. But black ends up being when you inject plastic, you end up with what's called a runner.
Yes.
That's the stem that goes to the piece. Well, the runners are usually thrown away, but we collect all of our runners. And then at the end of this whole big run, when we do like a Gaylord, which is, like a 5 by 5 by 5 foot box or more of plastic, we take the runners and we grind them up. Now, those are all the colors mixed together. Now, we melt them in the machine and we run them again. Well, what it does is it turns to black because all of the colors combined will do that. And so that's how all of our black pieces are recycled plastic, basically. And at the first stage, right? Yeah, we don't use recycled plastic, but we recycle our own plastic.
Right.
Well, see, that's good. That means nothing goes to waste, so that makes you also not just a toy company, but a environmentally conscious company. So
right,
I like
and
that.
we still have everything that's made in the United States, which we're very proud of.
Right. And we went through the whole thing with Amazon. with their ecology packaging.
Mm-hmm.
We call it ban the box. We call it ban the box.
Mm-hmm.
We package in a poly bag that's stiff enough that it works like a box on a shelf,
Yep.
but you don't have a box to throw away.
Right, and that's why we're not in toy stores, because a lot of the toy stores just really want the packaging. And we had tried that in the past, but that's not what our toy is about. I mean, we want the kids just to play with the toy and not just to see that it looks so nice in a box and then
Yes.
you take it home.
No
So,
way.
so that's not. So we're not in stores. We are just online, or we're on Amazon, or if we do
Direct through school.
yeah, we do directly. We do purchase orders. That's our biggest thing is
Yeah.
schools and
Schools,
libraries.
We make
Yeah.
our living with schools.
Right, exactly. And that's why it's really hit us really hard since the schools have not been in session, that
Mhm.
it's hit us
Yeah.
the last couple
The
of
drop in
months.
business has been
Yeah,
tremendous.
right, exactly.
Well, that's why I was also asking about the parent purchase, because now we're going to have a ton of parents that are going to go to homeschool. Well, we have a
Right.
ton of parents that are homeschool, and I mean
Right.
this, those kids still have challenges that they have to do. They still have homeschool groups that they participate with. And what I like about this toy, and you keep calling it a toy, and I think it's more than a toy, but that's just me. What I think about
Yeah,
this
right.
is this can be a great, STEM project, math project, science project, great asset to them, because a lot of people have the assumption that kids that are homeschooled are at home all the time. But they do have groups that they communicate with, that they participate with, that they go and do things with. So this would be a great thing for a homeschool organization. So I hope y'all are looking at this, because I'm here on Facebook Live with doing the show, and I've got the toy going here. But
Right. I homeschool my girls, so and I did that for many years.
In San Diego.
Yeah, in California, and I worked with a charter school that would just actually do the help me with the math and the science, but everything else I had a curriculum, and I would have a teacher come once a month, and she would check on me and check on my girls to make and give them grades and everything that we were doing, everything. And so homeschool
and now they've been top honors graduate of their university.
Yeah, I'm so glad I homeschooled them, because it was great for them, and I loved it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're doing terrific.
Yeah.
Very creative girls.
yeah.
How about Orlando? We did the homeschool convention
Yeah.
several years.
Right.
in
There's a big
Orlando.
convention at the Gaylord Palms
Yeah.
Resort, and we did that for many years.
Right.
Yeah, we did the homeschool convention. Yeah.
Now, when you look at these kits, can you tell me what your kit makeup is? How many pieces? Where do people get them? Well, let me back up a little bit. What are the kits like, and where would people find them if they wanted to purchase them?
Okay. Well, we have a couple of different sets of kits.
Mm-hmm.
We have we call it is it a travel size?
It started out as a travel size.
It started as a travel size because we used to say they could take it in the car and build, or they could take it on an airplane on that table, or we have it where they float, so you could take it actually to a pool, to the beach, so that's our small kit.
42 pieces.
Right, and that has 42 pieces.
Right.
And then our next one is 84 pieces.
Double the amount.
Right, and then we have a colossal kit that a lot of the teachers like for the classroom, because it has 500 pieces,
Ooh.
and then they could divide that all up among the students. Now, I know I'm in touch with teachers all the time on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and a lot of things are concerning because of going back to school with
Yes.
COVID. So I was suggesting too, if they say they get a big kit, they each could divide it up and have them in into tubs. So then each child would have their own, little group. I mean, they could just divide them they can give as many pieces as they want to each child. That's up to the teacher.
But they would each have their own.
But they would have their own, so then they don't have to be afraid of sharing. I mean, whatever is going, coming up. And a nice thing about ours is that they are dishwasher safe, so you could take them home and put them on the upper level, and you can wash them, and they get disinfected that way.
That's good to know. I did not know that these were dishwasher safe. See, y'all have thought about everything with these Quibits. These are so cool. I mean, you've thought about everything. Travel size.
It's just like Tupperware. Yeah.
Well,
It's
we're
like
learning. Yeah, that's why we've been doing this for many years, and we just feed off each other, and it's just my husband and I, and once in a while one of our kids will help us, but that's it. And then the person who makes our Quibits, so it's a very, very small company, and so we change hats a lot, and we love working together, and so it's
yeah, John and his wife, they make and do the injection work.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're literally 30 minutes away from us.
Yeah.
So
that's yeah.
It's a community affair. Now,
right.
Yep.
For my audience, would you please tell them what's your social media or website and how to order the Quibits for me?
Okay. Well, the best way is to go to our website, and it's Quibits Toy, QUBITSTOY, it's one word, .com. So that's our website. And from there, you can find everything. If you just take the time and click through the hamburger drop-downs and all the rest of those things on the website, and you will find the click-on for Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. And then from there, you could read our blogs. We've had articles been written. Some of those articles get a lot of traffic. And then we have all of our items are there. We have the 84-piece kit, the 42-piece kit, the 500-piece kit. You click on it. It's Shopify. It's super safe. It's dependable. And then we also have our booklets are on there, the PDF booklets. Those simply, you just click on them and tell us who you are, and then you can download it for free.
Okay.
And once you have it on your computer, you can duplicate it, give it to your students, give it to your friends, whatever you want to do with that. Just distribute it all you like. And then, of course, the beads are available on there.
And the beads are very inexpensive, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have a new item. It's an antenna.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you about.
Yeah. Now, this is an unusual one. I liked electronics. My dad was an electrician, and I'm fascinated by it. And what I was looking at when I did the polyhedrons is I said, well, these are what they call endless loops. So what if you were to make an endless loop with wire and then attach it to a radio and see if it works as an antenna? Well, sure enough, it did work, and it worked rather well. And so I went through dozens and dozens of different designs and everything else.
When we were home, well, we're still home, but
yeah. It was a COVID project.
It was for months and months. Yeah.
And so what it came down to is one special shape, and it can bring in stations better than any other shape I've ever seen. And I'm able to make it very small, and it's called Flower Power. It's a digital TV antenna. It's $20. We're producing them right now, and we're taking pre-orders. And once you get this, all you have to do, everyone has a nice digital television nowadays, but many people don't use the little hookup in the back of it. Once they hook up their cable television, they kind of forget about it. But there's a lot of programming over the airwaves that we're receiving, PBS and NPR.
Yeah, very local. We have our North Carolina station.
North Carolina
yeah,
station.
Station
You'll have
that we
any.
would have never seen
What state
before.
are you in, by the way?
They're in Texas. Oh, she's
Oh,
in
you're
Texas.
I'm in
Texas,
Texas,
okay.
but
I bet
I work in Hawaii. So I'm thinking about
You work in
I need to order this because I don't have cable. I use just whatever comes over the air, and using a regular antenna for me, I don't get all the channels real clear all the time. I may get out of the probably 12 channels that we have, I think I get maybe half of those clear all the time with just a regular antenna.
You'll get all 12 with this antenna. I'm quite sure of it. And actually, we have another antenna that we are not selling right now, but it's got an incredible amount of power. It can bring in, we go from 9 stations up to 17.
Wow.
With changing this, but the 9-station antenna is really well. I mean, it matches everything you can buy, like in the store, like at Walmart or whatever, for your $20 antenna from RCA or actually Amazon's antenna. And if you do a shootout with them, antenna to antenna, our antenna does better.
Yeah,
And that's a little flower power. It's a very simple thing. You just hook it up on the back of your TV and go. You could put it on a coaxial cable and put it outside, but that's up to you. Yeah.
Now, right now, are you still running the special till the end of June for that antenna?
Yes, we are.
So,
in fact, we'll probably run that special for 6 months.
Okay, tell the audience what that special is, if you don't mind.
Well, normally it's a $30 antenna, but it's $20. It's $20 online.
And what is the size of that? I saw it online, and it doesn't look. I couldn't determine what the size is.
Well, if it goes in the palm of your hand.
Oh, okay.
It's about the size of a cubit, really. I mean, it's small. I mean, cubits are big, but the antenna is small.
Right.
A normal antenna is 1 foot by 1 foot flat panel. And this antenna is 3 inches in diameter, and that's it. It's a circle. And it's flat.
Yeah, and it looks like the cutest little flower, y'all, you ever wanted to see.
We're 60.
Yeah, it brought back memories for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, when he showed it to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to have that on my loose leaf book. We would put all our little flowers on to decorate our loose leaf when we went to school.
And that's what I thought about when I saw it online last week. I'm like, this is so cute. So that's one of the next things that you've got coming up. I like those. So I will be ordering one of those.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me on the island, but I will be ordering one of those because if it's going to get me more channels, and it's not that I'm cheap, that I don't have cable, it's that I can watch so much other stuff on YouTube, but I need to watch the local news and their local channels that I like to watch. And if I can get them better and clearer, I'm going to give this a shot. So, you're doing electronics, you're doing qubits. Now, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, Mark.
Oh, I'm just going to say that in the future, very soon, we'll have a little adapter, and that will go onto your FM radio. So if you have a receiver, FM receiver, it'll hook onto that as well, and it performs very good there, too.
To get spins all over, right?
Yep.
Yeah. From places you would have never thought about, yeah.
So, I mean, y'all are branching out, and I am loving it. So,
Well, good. I'm
so for people to order or to get in touch with Quibit, you go to Quibits Toys. That's QUIBITSTOY, one word, .com, and you can order there. Or you said you could also order on Amazon. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
You could go on Quibits, which is Qubits toy.com, and you can that's the website, and then you could also do it on Amazon, because a lot of teachers have business accounts on Amazon,
Yes.
and so they like sometimes going through Amazon.
And we offer a discount.
Right.
And on Amazon, you just type in any search, just say Qubits and the word toy, and that'll get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, too, because we've worked with Donors Choose, which has been very popular, and because some of the Title I schools just can't afford Qubits or can't afford a lot of these, products or supplies that they want. So we've been blessed, and so has the schools. We've donated probably over 150 different classrooms with Quibits Toy through Donors Choose.
Okay. So,
So that's something that a lot of times, unfortunately the private schools can't do Donors Choose, which is unfortunate, but the public schools.
And Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is a big donor that pays for those.
Right, the Donors Choose. Yeah.
And Chevron, they fuel your school at Chevron.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had Sonic Burgers. They do a lot of donations.
Right.
And then we have, what's the heck his name? Craigslist, the founder of Craigslist. He's a big
Mark
donor.
Mark, Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg?
No, not
No.
Zuckerberg.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, I was getting ready to ask you to talk about some of the people you work with, or some of your sponsors. So I'm going to ask you that right now. We all have to do this in cooperation with others, either organizations or individuals. But is there anyone out there that you want to recognize or thank, or, talk about what they do or how they work with you, school districts, individuals, so on and so forth? Please take this time to give them a wonderful shout out.
I don't know.
There's so many schools that we
That's
deal
a tough
with, and
one.
sometimes repeat orders. And as far as organizations, I'm trying to recall, if there's. I mean, we've been doing this for many years. I'm trying to, if there's any particular.
We have those. I don't know. A lot of people have helped us a little bit everywhere, but we don't have one big donor that does a lot with us. We have been on Shark Tank. We have had those celebrities help us out at one time or another.
Right. And Chase Bank,
Chase Bank, that's a good
That's a wonderful one. There was a contest, I guess, a couple of years ago or something, and it was for small businesses, and they were offering, how much was it they were offering among the
Well, they
people?
were offering $1 million split between 20 companies.
Right. And so, thank God we were blessed, and they called us and they said, "Wait, you're one of the recipients of this Chase Award." And oh my gosh, it was amazing. What they did is they first they had publicity and everyone, and then they had a school for us to go to receive the check. And it was a school for disabled children. And we got to meet all the children and go into the different classrooms and do a presentation. And then they handed us this cardboard check, a big check, just for to take pictures. And then they sent us to Google headquarters in San Francisco. And they kind of, with us and the 19 other people that were small business owners from around the United States, and they trained us for about 3 days. And then another fun thing they did was in Florida when we lived there, they had us go to a basketball game, and they had us on the big teleprompt, I guess, and all about Qubits and stuff. So that was a lot of nice things that Chase actually helped us a lot, and the money all went to helping our business, and it was very well thanked for it.
Well, you know what? This sounds like this has been a labor of love for you and your family and your community and your friends. And, I love the fact that you say you went on Shark Tank. did that come out? I mean, I don't know how that came out because, you know, to me, those people are kind of scary. But
You're right.
they're kind of scary.
That 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
before it was even on TV. They had called us and asked if we wanted to be on the show. We had interviewed with another show called American Inventor, and that was like a year or two before, I guess. And we went there, and we went with the kids and everything with our Quibits. And then they liked it, and they liked it as a family. But then the producer called and said, well, we're changing the format, so it's not going to work out for you and the toy and the children and everybody to be on the show. So we were disappointed. And then about a year or two later, ABC called again, and the producer said, we remember you from American Inventor. We have this new show coming on. It's going to be Shark Tank, and we didn't know anything about. We didn't know the people, the judges, anything. And they said, would you be interested? And we said yes. And so they flew Mark to L.A., and they with Quibits for a couple of days, right? And do you want to take it from
filmed the
there?
whole segment, and then did a home package where they came to our home afterwards.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
That
So
was
it ended up where we had a deal,
Yeah.
and it was a contingency deal where Damon John shook my hand and did the deal with me, and then after that, what he needed to do was try to sell this toy idea to a toy company. But being that he wasn't successful in doing that, then the deal was basically, over with. And we're on our own, and we've been that way ever since. So,
right. But it did help because Shark Tank became so popular. So I think it, when they did air it, I think we were aired one or two times. It helped us, and then just it was a good experience.
Right, and I belong to a Facebook group where it's nothing but people who've been on that show.
Oh.
And it's a terrific group of entrepreneurs, and they really, we help each other all the time.
Yeah, they talk all the time.
We, talk shop all the time.
So a lot of good came out of it, even if you didn't get a deal. There's always good somewhere, right?
You asked about people that have, a shout out or whatever, but Twitter is kind of like my thing. I really like Twitter. It allows me to say things quickly and short. And there's a lot of people on Twitter that are very much involved with our company at times, and I enjoy it.
Okay.
And one of them is Brown Dog Gadgets.
Oh, okay.
They make a tape that's conductive tape, and I've used this for studying about the antennas. And I've yet to put together a good curriculum with that.
Okay.
But there's that. And then there's, of course, there's John Powell. He's a fellow who has a JP Aerospace. So anybody that takes us up into space is certainly on our list. And, then we tweet out to a lot of celebrities. We have, I like to do things to Elon Musk. I don't think he's ever responded. But now Jeff Bezos has responded to
And he bought our Quibit.
And he bought Quibits.
So he has a set.
And so that was shocking to see that order when that came in.
That's nice.
And then we've got Marcus Lemonis. He's the prophet on television.
Oh, yeah.
He's not so much involved at all with us, but I just admire him as a businessman and the things that he does. I did talk to him for a short period after I was on Shark Tank, and he was starting the show The Prophet. And for some reason or another, we crossed paths on Twitter, and we did have quite a conversation there for a while. That was interesting because he was trying to learn the ropes about a television show before he started The Prophet, and he was inspired a little bit by Shark Tank, I suppose.
Okay.
And so, there's things like that. I mean, we like Twitter for that reason.
I do LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time, and I'm on Facebook talking to thousands and thousands of teachers and parents and homeschool parents and librarians, and I just like to connect and just let them know who we are. And a lot of times they'll just have questions, and I try to help them and answer So I'm on that all day long, and LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, hey, I have Angela over here waving at me because we're going over time. But you know what? And that's okay. This has been a great, great, great time speaking with you. And I want to thank y'all.
We had so much fun with you. Thank you so much for having us.
For coming on, Lisa and Mark, and telling us about your Quibits toys. And y'all, you've got to order these things. I mean, I just enjoy just building with them. But, you know, if you come in my garage, you're going to find far too many robots and building blocks. And now I have Quibits.